Hello there YouTubers. So I am today going to attempt re-trimming the headlining, which you can see just up there on my T5. I've actually done the rear roof in like this faux fur fabric. I don't know if you can see it there. It looks all right. I've carpeted the inside. I'll do a little video to do an update later. Sadly I didn't record a lot of that or any of it, so sorry about that if you were thinking of watching some of that. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is have a little go at doing this, and I wanted to video it because I've just started trying to do it, and actually it's a bit of a pig just getting some of the plastic clips off. So looking at some of the forums, I've figured out some ways of doing it. Just tried one or two, seems to work, so I thought I'll show you it visually, so hopefully you can not break anything like others have found, and together we can do it without having to replace bits. So firstly I need to take off the clips on the sun visors. So I'll just quickly show you how to do that. So there are these little clips on the sun visor. I'm going to try and do it while I'm showing you. You want to try and get a trim tool. I've not got one, so I'm just going to use this edge here. And what you want to do is push this in and then pull this top bit, if you can see it, upwards. So if I show you, there you go. And then the same with this one. You're likely to mark the plastic with something metal like a screwdriver. I've already had a go at it and made a couple of little chips in it. But yeah, if I get that in there, and then there we go. And then as you can see, that just slides off of there. And then there are two screws in there. And then I presume that just comes straight off. There's also another one of those just over here. So that'll be exactly the same for that one. So next to the sun visor, which I've now taken off on both sides, there's just a couple of little crosshead screwdrivers, screws on each of those. There's these ones. Now, I've already had a go at it. I've taken it off. As you can see, I've made a little bit of a mess of it. The only way, really, to get it off is to get something in here. I'm going to use a screwdriver, just because it fits in nicely. It's going to make a little dent. And then you just push it down, and you see, pop, off it comes. And then hopefully if you do it that way, if you come in from the side, you're likely possibly to snap it because it really clips on hard here. So try and get something in there. If you've got a trim tool, plastic trim tool, and you can get it far enough in without it bending the plastic trim tool, that's probably the best way to go for that. Give it a little lever and then it'll pop straight off. And again, two little Phillips screws on the end, crosshead screws. We've removed those little clips from there with the two screws. Next up, we want to remove this whole cubby hole unit, which starts off really by the light. So I've got a plastic trim tool, which you can see here, and I'm going to just pop that in there, both sides. It's quite hard to do with one hand, so ta-da, that's come off. And then under here, there, if I can show you on here, there are two screws, one there and one there, and as you undo those, that basically frees up this whole cubby hole unit. This bit pops off, and that whole bit, actually what's inside here, slides out. So I'm just going to do that. We've undone the screws in there, and I've also prised the front of this off of here. That just literally pulls off. You've got to be a bit careful. I do it in the order that I've gone through it, because when you get to this bit, you can actually pull the headlining down and see where it actually clips on, and get quite close into where the clips are. You can see on the side these two bits here, because then you're less likely to snap it when you're levering it off, because you don't want to break it, because then you're going to have problems either gluing it or having to buy a replacement. But as you can see, the whole headlining now is really loose all the way around. The only thing actually holding it on now is this grab handle here, and what we do is just pop these clips off, and there's a couple of little screws just in, getting close, just in here and in here. So these just, look, put my fingers in, there's little tabs there, see, and then you can get right in close, and there's just a couple of little, oh sorry, I'm not the best cameraman here, look, there's two screws in there anyway. You take those off, and then basically the whole headlining should just pull down. As you can see, I've popped the top off. One of the things that I've done actually was I got a trim tool and just pulled this off. There's just a couple of little clips behind there that hold it on both sides. So if you look at this side as well, there's basically one there and there's one here, and you can just get a little trim tool in there and pop those off, and then that basically means the whole roof lining, the whole thing will just come down. You can see I've still left this box in, so I just undid that little light and popped it off. The light was still attached, so as you drop it down, there's just this one little cable that you just need to pull out, then the whole roof lining literally comes off, which you can see it here. And I'm now going to take that inside and trim it. But then also what I'm going to do, where I've insulated the van, I've still got some silver foil left over for the insulation. You can see they've got this little square on there, but that's not going to do much in regards to panel flex. So I'm actually going to stick on some remaining adhesive I've got just to do this little bit of the roof, just while I've got it all off. So I'll show that once that's done as well. So I've got this faux material. I've got a throw basically from Tesco's. This was about £10. They were on sale for £7.50, and I've just placed it over the top of it underneath. And what I'm going to do is just in a minute spray some contact adhesive on both this side and then this side, and then basically try and work and stretch the fabric so that covers it, and then I'll start making some incisions on the bits where there are holes where we need to put things like the lights and the grab handles. Just about to spray the headlining or the the faux fur covering that I was showing you. I've got this trim fix adhesive that I bought from Harrison's Trim Supply. You can get, so just Google that on the internet, you can get this. And we're basically going to spray both this surface, and then also we're going to spray this headlining, and then we're going to put the two on together, and hopefully it will stay stuck. So just going in the sideways motion. Oh. And so on until this is covered. Okay, now we're going to spray the headlining. You can see I've done most of it. We're going to particularly get in tight where the edges are. And these bits get right up to the edge. Don't get it all over your window. It's a piece to clean off. So I'll put the headline in here on my table, and then I've got it stretched out just down there on the floor, and I'm going to pick it up with my wife helping me, taking the other end, and we're just going to lay it down onto it. Now we're not going to be able to record this bit, I don't think, but I'll try and record it as soon as we're on to stretching it all out so you can see what to do. Okay, so what we've done, we've laid it over the top here because it's the most pronounced bit, and then we've folded the edges in so it doesn't all stick, and it's laid on very lightly. So hopefully what we'll be able to do is just very gently rub all of this on here. Now if you don't push down too hard, it's not going to stick, and then what you can do is just work through some of the bits like here where you don't really want it really tight, and then you're just basically folding it all down, working one bit at a time into all the edges, making sure it's nice and stuck down, there's no creases. Particularly these edge bits where there's all sorts of nooks and crannies around here. Particularly here where the handles go. Gotta make sure it's nice and tight. Get rid of all of these creases here. Start to see it's taking shape, and then we'll continue with that all the way around until so as you can all see that's all stuck down as per the contours, and then what I'm going to do is just flip that over, and then we're going to start sticking the other side and trimming it up. Just using that spray, I'm going to spray all the way around these edges, and then that, and also on this material here, and then that way it will stick over the edge. I'll trim off the excess on this far edge here just because there's so much. You've got a fair while working with this. It's not actually going to stick on its own, but when you've got two surfaces here and here covered in it, it sticks really well, particularly if you put a bit of force down. You can work it initially if you just lay on loosely, but as soon as you press it down, you're going to leave, particularly with a material like this, you're going to start leaving it stuck on there. So there's only a few times you can do that without making yourself more work. Now that's all stuck on. I'm going to get some scissors and basically just trim off all of this excess around the edge, and I'm actually going to try and keep some of this to use on the A-pillars around the windscreen, so I'm going to try and trim that out. So it's not the neatest job, but as you can see, I've trimmed off all the excess. There are a few bits where I've had to just lift it up and spray underneath a bit more just to make sure it's really stuck. And then what I'm going to do next is just get some scissors and make a little hole along here, and then I'll spray some contact adhesive around the outside here, a little bit more on there, then I'll fold it up and onto itself, so then effectively we've got a nicely trimmed aperture just here and there. Okay, so you can see the headlining is all done. I've also trimmed up I've not done the tidiest of jobs, but from the showing side it looks good. I've also trimmed up the A-pillars. You can see I've taken out those little inserts. At some point I might try and spray that plastic black. And then what I've done on the headlining before I fit it, there's these little slits that I've put in here, and also another one there. That's for the sun visor bit to go in, so I know where they are. And also you might see there's a little bit here where there's a bit frayed. What I've done, I've popped a screwdriver through the other side. That's just so I know. I've got the same just up here somewhere. There's a little hole, but that's just there. And that is so that I know where the screws go for the clips that the sun visor rests into. So there's 3 holes along there, and I've just popped it in just so that the screws go through a little bit easier. So the next job is going to be to fit some of this stuff onto the ceiling. It's just basically adhesive on one side. We'll put that on the roof of the cab, and then we'll just keep it insulated and stop some panel flex. And then after that we'll fit this back in there, which is a reverse of removal. So you can see I've stuck the sticky stuff on as much as I can. There's a couple of tiny little gaps, but pretty much we got full on coverage. That should just help a little bit of panel flex and also the insulation. And now next I'm going to refit all of the bits that I originally showed coming off, but they've all been trimmed. Hopefully we'll get them all on there and they'll look all right, I'm hoping. I'm going to struggle showing that going back on. So check this out, we're all done. So the roof lining is all finished. I've even done the A-frame, well, A-pillars, as you can see here. I am really pleased with how they've come out. The roof looks pretty awesome, really. At some point I might try and spray those bits, but yeah, this is it. It feels pretty groovy in here. I need a little disco ball or something. And then if I show you through the back, that it's like that all the way through the roof. I've obviously carpeted out the back. And everything as well, so yeah, we're getting there. So I've got George from Captain Seats is going to be fitting me some really nice seats next month with a rock and roll bed, and then we're starting to really get there. So it's looking great. So very pleased, very pleased indeed. Looks pretty cool. Just need to maybe think about spraying these and changing the colours maybe, but that won't take too long. And also whether I carpet these bits or not, I'm not too sure. It's a problem, once you start doing it you think, oh, I might as well do the lot of it, and then it's just a huge job, but lots of fun and something to spend money on. So well done, thanks for watching. Hopefully it'll help you when you come to do yours. It was pretty straightforward putting it all back in, just got to be patient, and then it all fits back as it's come out. Don't force anything, don't snap anything, and you'll be happy. Till the next time.